Well, I find the whole dynamic here fascinating, and I think Brady's last clause of his Instagram post when he said "brothers for life" is somewhat telling. Now, I'm the only person on the show today without a brother, but Jenna, you have a brother. I know how much you love him and respect him. I also know he's a wildly successful plastic surgeon, and that kind of irritates you at times. Wilds has a brother. He's a brilliant scientist. Wilds can love him as much as he is. He's a little jealous of his intellect. And Mangini's got a brother who, best I can tell, is living the high life in Australia. And I think Mangini visits as much as says, that'd be a nice life as opposed. So I feel like you can love your brothers and still get a little sick of them at times. And so I believe Tommy loves Josh McDaniels. I also think the two might have been a little sick of each other. Let's take Tom's own words. We know Tom was frustrated with the offense last year. We know even when they were 8-0, Al Michaels called him the most miserable 8-0 quarterback in football because of his frustrations with the offense and that he didn't have a bigger say in the offensive game plan, which I would argue Tom has earned. And if you're Josh McDaniels, and we now know from Tom Brady's own words this offseason, Tom would simply decide, I'm not throwing to that guy. That receiver, I'm crossing him off the list. You put him in the game, I'm not throwing to him. I would imagine as an offensive coordinator, you might say, well, that's not exactly how I drew it up. So, Coach, I believe they can love each other, but also both may be excited for this next phase and excited for a fresh relationship, if you will.
Yeah, any relationship after 19 years is going to have some points where they're stale. But the idea to say that was the reason that he left, I think that is irresponsible. And I think it's unfair. And the one clip that we keep showing is the one clip that's available after 19 years, which is amazing. You have one sideline blow up with guys that are in intense competition week in and week out. And that's all that's available. And that's indicative of how the relationship is. The idea that Josh wouldn't incorporate things that Tom wanted to do, that's just silly. Josh is an extremely smart guy. These guys came up together. If Tom had an issue, he could have always gone to Bill. But that's not the case. That's not who Josh is. It's irresponsible, too, from Gary's perspective. Tom has kids, and the idea that you're going to put, or Josh has kids, and the idea that you're going to put this on Josh and he's the reason that Tom Brady left New England, I don't think it's right. You know, Gary's been known to stir things up, with or without the most solid of sources.
Well, Coach, I'm going to throw it back to you for a question about coordinators' relationships. But me personally, I was happy to add another reason for Tom Brady leaving to my collection. I've been collecting cards. I've got the Belichick card. I've got the lack of weapons last year. I've got it's a family decision. I've got tired of a grind of New England. Now I've got the money. I've got length of contract. I got not being treated nicely in meetings. I've got the weather. I've got he wanted a new challenge. No, he just wanted to have fun. And now I got the Josh McDaniels card. So I've got a nice set of like Pokemon cards here of reasons why Tom Brady had to go to Tampa. But Coach, I want to throw it back to you. Is a relationship between a quarterback and an offensive coordinator a consistent source of tension just around the NFL? Or is it more just like, I don't know, can it be a source of tension? I guess my question is.
Well, whenever you've been with someone for 19 years, there's going to be a lot of sources of tension. And things can get a little bit old, and things that were okay early in the relationship may grate on you a little bit more as you both get older. Now, that being said, you also develop a mutual respect of what each person brings to the table. And these guys have been complementary, and these guys have helped each other in so many different ways. So that, to me, would overcome the tension that exists. And, yeah, there is natural tension that exists. But that being said, when you have a relationship that's as deep as theirs, you can move past that tension pretty quickly and understand that it was a event that happened in the moment as opposed to anything deeper.
Hey, Nick, how much pressure is now on Josh McDaniels, the quarterback he's had for the last 19 or so, maybe minus 2 years is gone, the most successful player maybe in the history of the NFL. He's now left with pretty inexperienced quarterback room. There were rumors that he was the one that maybe didn't want Cam Newton or wasn't that high on him, as I think his quote. Now he's the offensive coordinator of a Patriots team with a lot of expectations. How much pressure's on him?
I think the pressure lands almost solely, or not at least the majority of it, at the feet of Bill Belichick, because this still resonates to the vast majority of America as a Bill Belichick decision. Even in the Gary Myers series of tweets, he lists 6 reasons that Brady left, many of which Wildes just referenced. He wrote he was worn out by Belichick and it wasn't fun. He wanted to create competition with Belichick to see who could win a Super Bowl first. He was tired of McDaniels. He wanted more money and a longer deal. That's also a Belichick issue. The lack of talent on the roster, that's also a Belichick issue because he's the one who picks the talent, and warm weather. Now, warm weather, Tom, you can't blame Belichick for that. It's just, New England winters stink. But so 4 of those 6 things are directly related to Bill Belichick, not related to Josh McDaniels. But what I found very interesting, and I want to toss this to Coach if I may, there is a danger in addressing any of these reports. And, Coach, I'm sure when you were a head coach with the Jets or with the Browns, there were things that came out that you felt either were unfair or were outright untrue. But once you start knocking down a singular report, it becomes a bit of a game of whack-a-mole. And I do wonder if one of the reasons you don't do that is because, well, then there's going to be expectation that if I don't knock down a report, I'm confirming it. And I think some people see this and say, a lot's been written about Belichick and Brady's relationship. We haven't seen him go on Instagram once and say, fake news, bad media, like he did with this. So I'm not trying to be unfair to Tom and say there is an implication there, but I think you open yourself up to it once you start responding to any report. Does that resonate with you?
Look, you can read into people's reactions any way that you want to read into them. But as soon as I saw this, as emphatic as Tom was with his response, the way that he clearly articulated how he felt about Josh, to me shows how important this relationship is to him and how wrong the report was. The idea that Tom wasn't having as much fun as he should have in New England, and he was the most unhappy guy at 8-0. You watch the Jordan documentary, he says, winning has a price. Things have a price, and Tom understands what that price is. And we've talked about this over and over with New England. What's fun is winning. What's fun is winning. You're not going to have, Taco Tuesday and all the other things that go with the. I'm just saying, you're not having the same.
Unnecessarily bring up the Jordan Doc shot.
Hold on a second. LeBron doesn't own Taco Tuesday. I'm just saying you're not going to have all the workplace, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have a lot of hard work, a lot of winning, and a consistent approach. And I've said it over and over. It's not for everybody.
Wildes, quickly, you're a Patriots fan. Do Patriot fans, do they care about this? Are they still in the weeds of what really happened? Have you moved on from this, or are you still waiting with bated breath to figure out what happened?
I haven't moved on from Coach's Taco Tuesday shot at LeBron yet, so I'm waiting for Nick's response on that. But me personally, I have moved on. I'm pro Stidham. I don't see a tremendous amount of value in trying to go over the autopsy of why Tom Brady left. He left. Honestly, let's move on. It's starting to be like, I'm just done with it. Nick, what do you think about Coach taking a few shots at LeBron in the last
well, listen, we are now on, I've counted 4 consecutive shows of someone not named Nick Wright shoehorning LeBron James into the conversation. Yeah. Listen, the guy's working out. He's quarantined. Basketball's not even in session. And I feel like all of you guys need to deal with this LeBron James obsession that you seem to be dealing with and somehow get him into the show. If I just very quickly, Wildes might have moved on. There will be books written about Brady's decision to leave, just like there was about Kevin Durant's decision to leave. I think one of the reasons Coach said the reporting was so unfair when he referenced Josh McDaniels having kids is the worry that the kids are going to get picked on because it's out there, your dad pushed Tom Brady out. So Wildes might be an outlier as far as Patriot fans turning the page. I think a lot of Patriot fans are still as interested in what happened with Brady and what will happen with Brady as they are with anything with the 2020 Jared Stidham-led team.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.